The four-move checkmate. Every chess player meets it, usually the hard way. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how it works, how to land it, the two ways defenders get it wrong, the defense that shuts it down, and two lines that don't just survive the trick, they punish it. Let's begin. Before any pieces move, look at the ringed pawn sitting right beside the black king. Every other pawn on the board is guarded by a piece. This one is guarded by the king and only the king. The four-move mate is a plan to attack that single weak point before anyone else shows up for work. It starts like any normal game. Both sides claim the center. Then the queen comes flying out, sideways to the edge. She already stares at that weak pawn along the diagonal, and she threatens the undefended center pawn too. Black calmly develops a knight and guards the center pawn. So far, so good. Now the bishop joins in, aiming at the same weak pawn. Count the attackers, 2. Count the defenders, just the king. The threat is checkmate. Next move. And here is the moment that decides hundreds of thousands of games. Black develops the other knight and attacks the queen. It looks completely natural, and it loses instantly. The queen takes the pawn, protected by the bishop behind her, and the king has nowhere to run. Checkmate. In 4 moves. If you want to try this yourself, hear the honest version first. Against a prepared opponent, the raid achieves nothing, and you must be ready to play a real game when it's blocked. But against autopilot, it is ruthless, and there's a move order that catches far more people than the famous one. Play the bishop out first. This looks like a completely normal, quiet opening, so your opponent relaxes and develops on reflex. Black mirrors you, and only now does the queen appear. Same 2 attackers, same target, but disguised as a slow game for one extra move. And autopilot does the rest. The knight hop that millions of players make without thinking, some of them literally pre-moving it, walks into the same checkmate. Even strong blitz players have lost exactly this way. That's the whole trick. It punishes moves made without looking. Now let's switch sides and learn to beat it. The queen is out, eyeing the weak pawn. Your instinct says, block her path with the little pawn, move. Careful. On this exact move, that instinct is a trap. Block immediately, and the queen simply changes targets. She takes the center pawn with check. That one capture attacks the king and the corner rook at the same time. A royal fork. Black has to deal with the check, and the queen scoops up the rook. Out of the opening, black is down a rook for nothing. The block was the right idea at the wrong moment. The center pawn needed a guard first. So here is the correct recipe in order. The queen comes out, threatening both the weak pawn and the center pawn. Step 1. Guard the center pawn first. The knight develops to its best square and defends it, all in one move. Now nothing hangs. When the bishop aims at the weak pawn and mate is genuinely threatened, step 2. Now block with the little pawn move. It closes the diagonal for good, and it prepares a home for your own bishop. Watch the queen try again from a new square, this time threatening mate along the file. Same idea, different road, so you block the road. The knight develops and stands in her path. Notice the pattern. You never memorize one defense. You find the queen's route to the weak pawn and put a guard on it. White finally develops something. You put the bishop in its new home where it eyes the whole long diagonal. And you, castle, count the position. Your king is safe, 3 of your pieces are developed, and white's queen has already moved twice and achieved nothing. One tip for later: hold the middle pawn back for now so it can advance 2 squares in 1 strike when the counterattack comes. From here, you are simply better. And the engine agrees. From that same defensive position, some attackers refuse to quit. Keep your eye on the ringed square in white's camp. A knight landing there would attack white's king and corner rook at the same time, and with the white queen out adventuring, nothing guards it at all. It is about to matter. The queen slides to a new diagonal, dreaming about that weak pawn one more time. Don't defend, counterattack. The knight leaps to the middle, hits the queen and eyes the ringed fork square at the same time. The queen has to watch 2 things at once, and she can't. She steps aside, still hoping. The knight dives in with check, forking king and rook. The king shuffles over, and the knight eats the corner rook. That is the price of pushing the same trick 3 times. A whole rook, and the engine scores it completely winning for black. One more attacker type, the one who goes all in. Same position, and now white plans to throw a flank pawn forward, chase your knight away and mate anyway. It looks scary. It is losing, and the refutation ends the way poetry demands. The pawn lunges. Again, don't defend, counterattack. The knight leaps to the middle, hitting the queen and eyeing that same fork square deep in white's camp. The queen crawls all the way home. Now the central pawn strikes forward, attacking the white bishop and opening the diagonal for black's other bishop. White grabs the pawn, and the bishop develops with venom, capturing the flank pawn and attacking the homebound queen straight through the hole. White opened. White pokes the bishop, expecting a retreat. Instead, the quiet knight slides to the center, and this is the move of the whole lesson. It doesn't check. It doesn't capture. It clears the road behind it for the black queen, and it cannot be taken, because capturing it drops the white queen on the spot. White takes the bishop instead, and out comes the queen with check, down the road the knight just cleared. Look at the ringed square beside white's king. It is the mirror image of the pawn white has been hunting all game, guarded by the king, and only the king. The king steps aside, and the queen lands the checkmate, guarded by the knight, on the twin of the very square white was attacking. Those who live by the four-move mate die by the four-move mate. And even if white finds the least bad defense earlier, the engine has black winning by more than a full piece. So here's the whole story. The four-move mate wins games because one pawn starts the game guarded by the king alone. Block the queen's road, guard before you block, and develop while her army sleeps. And remember the counting rule. An attack only works when the attackers outnumber the defenders. 2 raiders against a whole king side is not an attack, it's a loan. Every line in this lesson is free at mated.gg, with boards you can step through and a coach to practice against. See you there.